NAFLD epidemic in India, this sort of terminology was not in vogue for past or in the past. Why all of a sudden we have this? Why this commotion, epidemic? I think probably, I don't know, this might be the reason, because now you have this EASL and all the world bodies are now talking of the NAFLD epidemic all of a sudden. And as we know, we always follow them. And the reason for all this is this paper which was presented at EASL, the changing face of chronic liver disease in US, the rising epidemic of NAFLD. And as a result, not only the hepatologists or other people associated working on NAFLD, the press also did its bit to create this hype, and this is all known that NAFLD is now the top concern for clinicians, that it's got significant impact on liver related mortality, morbidity, not only in the West, also in our country, and it's going to be a serious burden. Due to the obesity epidemic, all other problems related to the metabolic syndrome have come up, and so has NAFLD. Now, these are actually quotes from EASL which I have just shown you. So now coming to the real topic, the epidemic in India. Is it an epidemic? What is an epidemic? And you all know, we have all gone through all this. What's an epidemic? What's endemic? Hyperendemic? The unusual occurrence in a community or region of the disease or a specific health-related behavior or other health-related events clearly in excess of expected occurrence. Earlier it used to be only used in terms of infectious diseases. Now for everything it's used. And who knows, instead of epidemic, like now people are using the word viral, it's gone viral. So the terminology is changing. This word has changed over the last 2,500 years, and the meaning keeps on changing. Endemic, it refers to the constant presence of a disease. Can we say epidemic because we don't have data what is happening to this disease over the past 5 years, 10 years, or whatever? Whatever little data we have significant or good number of NAFLD, people with NAFLD, or the prevalence is quite high, whatever studies are done. Now, when epidemic has been used for other diseases, the prevalence is much low. Here the prevalence is very high. So could we say that we have, it's hyperendemic in a region? Or can we use the word pandemic? Probably very soon, it's a question of drawing attention. It was there, it may have gone up a bit, particularly in the urban regions, but this word, from epidemic, the word pandemic is going to be used very soon, the NAFLD pandemic, because an epidemic usually affecting a large proportion of the population, and this an NAFLD does, occurring over a wide geographic area such as a section of the nation, the entire nation or a continent or the world, and now we have data from all over the world where the prevalence is from 20% to 40-50% depending upon the population being screened for this. Now, when we talk of epidemics, why should we have it? Why should there be an epidemic of NAFLD in India? Because if we go to the basics of NAFLD is today considered the hepatic manifestation of metabolic syndrome. And this is it's like the iceberg phenomenon where NAFLD is the tip, and along with it you have all the other features of metabolic syndrome: insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, obesity, dyslipidemia, hypertension. And what you see, now there are two papers which highlight that the prevalence of insulin resistance is 2 to 3 folds higher in Asian Indians compared with other ethnic regions. So we were as such predisposed. Whether our weight was high, whether our BMI was high or not, we still had it. And there are two papers. One is the Anup Mishra group, published in 2007, the metabolic syndrome in South Asians, continuing escalation and possible solution. So the escalation in the metabolic syndrome is going on for quite some year, for a decade. Then we have this publication from Kit Fox-Peterson et al. Is an Italian study where they again found that the prevalence of insulin resistance was 2 to 3 fold higher in the Asian Indians compared with other ethnic groups. So if they have similar lifestyle, similar dietary pattern, then probably they will be having, Indians will be having a 2 to 3 folds, they will predispose 2 to 3 folds NAFLD than other people. Then you have this study which shows that nearly 95 subjects had at least one abnormal parameter, that is a criterion of metabolic syndrome, and the prevalence of metabolic syndrome was found to be 20%. Next, you all know, because I see a lot of pediatricians here, childhood obesity, I need not go into details, is going up for the last decade. We have now high prevalence of insulin resistance in Asian or in Indian children. And for the last 10 years, we hear this. This is another major risk factor for NAFLD. India's diabetic epidemic. India is the capital of diabetes. So if India is the capital of diabetes, it will also be the capital of NAFLD. Why not? And part of this is due to the nutrition transition. There are so many theories. Why we have it, how to prevent it, maternal malnutrition, and so on. I won't go into details of all that. So what I wanted to go, these slides I just want to show was that all the risk factors associated with NAFLD are going up. They are increasing many folds. And then you have certain, now this has not been worked properly, because we find, it has been seen that Indians, although leaner, have a greater predisposition for NAFLD. Now people are on to genes, and the studies have just begun, and we haven't unraveled much, but soon you'll have a genetic component to NAFLD, why we are more predisposed. Now these are the last two slides to show what's happening. These two slides summarize what I've told in the last few slides. Now this is the Indian cricket team of 1932. Look at them. Look at their stature, their waist, and look at this team. So, I mean, these two pictures tell us the tale, that we are bound to have increase in all the, we have had an increase in obesity, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and so on, and we have definitely had, though we don't have data, we definitely will have more fatty liver disease today than we had a decade or two ago. Next, apart from the theoretical aspect, is the epidemic there? We have very little data on prevalence of NAFLD and epidemiology. Now this slide just summarizes, this is a very busy slide, this just summarizes now the prevalence in the general population, asymptomatic healthy population or general population, it's around 16.6 to 24.5%. Then this is a retrospective thing. They just picked out their files from PGI and found 4%. That can't be true. Then this is general gastroenterology patients, 639 patients who are attending for different problems. Their ultrasound reports were seen, and there again it's 21.6%. And the last one is from Chennai by Mohan et al. This is a population-based study where 1/3 of the population had it. This is the first study on NAFLD prevalence from my place, where we found 1/4 of Indians, lean Indians, basically from rural background, had NAFLD. Again, I looked at the patient with different diseases coming to us, and we found was that 1/5 of them had an echogenic liver on ultrasound. Then from Mumbai, we had Deepak Amarakur, Deepak's paper, which studied the prevalence of NAFLD. Patel is here in the crowd. And what they found was, it was slightly lower, but almost, similar, I would say, again 18.9, that is 1/5. The last one is from Chennai by Mohan's group. Again, what they found was that 1/3 of the general population have NAFLD, and over half of diabetics have NAFLD. Finally, we have this paper from, now this has a very low prevalence. This is Abhijit Chaudhary's group, and their prevalence figures are very low. But if you look at the BMI of their population, it's extremely low. It's extremely low. So we can't, that BMI is not representative of the population at large in India. So I think we have to take the other ones which show that 1/5 to 1/3 of Indians have NAFLD. So that's a big figure. Now histological based NAFLD prevalence, and this is what we have. This is the first paper from Punjab, where they found 40% had fatty liver. This is autopsy study, but they attributed, I think, that probably most of it was due to the Patiala peg. It was not a proper study done, and they didn't have data on the population which underwent the autopsy. Then we have Anjali Amrapurkar's study from Mumbai. Again, here the autopsy study and different diseases, they were all diseased people mostly, and we can't take this figure into account. We did a small study in Cuttack where we found that fatty liver, we only took road traffic accident victims, people who had died, were crushed under the vehicles. There we found around 15% of them had fatty liver disease. Now this is a study on patients who have, people who have come with transaminitis. And what do we see? This is the AIM study. Again, over 1/3 of people who came to them for transaminitis, they had NAFLD. So we have this epidemic. If so, what? Why bother? Do we have to bother about it? Do we do something, or do we remain indifferent to that? We cannot, because as we all know, it can progress from steatohepatitis, cirrhosis, and liver cancer. And this is the data which you must have seen time and again. This just shows how it progresses. And to summarize the progression part, 40% had worsening histology, 20% developed worsening fibrosis, and up to 20% progressed to cirrhosis. Thus, it's very clear that we are facing with a big burden of NAFLD in India, and with increasing obesity and diabetes and other problems, there's a gloomy possibility of NAFLD prevalence increasing further. And more importantly, see, these are the rough figures with the current population of 122 crores. The figure, if we take 20%, it would be around 24 crores. We have 24 crores. So can we declare that India is the NAFLD capital? Now see, this is what we need to do. We need to look at how to prevent it. Not we shouldn't bother much about how to treat them. Prevention is the key. And not look at Lord Ganesh. And now this is from the study we did in 2004. And we found that the BMI, once it goes beyond 22, not 25, once it went beyond 22, see how the figures have leapt. it has gone up to 23%, 41, 36.8%. So it's very important that the BMI is kept down to below 22. Otherwise, we are bound to have NAFL. Again, this is just to highlight. This is the general BMI, and this is the BMI of NAFL patients. West Bengal, their average BMI 19.6. So I don't think we can take that into account. These are the actual figures of BMI of our patients, and we don't have much to offer to them. And so, most importantly, we need to create better awareness, forget about patients, among doctors who need to be aware. And if doctors have a BMI of 30, 40, God help the patients. They need to be aware of the problems. A lot of doctors, they say, why are you worried about this? You just create myths, they are useless things not to be bothered about. So you need to basically first create the physicians, and next important thing is lifestyle, not weight, should be the primary target. We need to educate people about changing their lifestyles, exercise. Of course, they have to reduce their diet. Without that, we can't achieve anything. And as we all know that it's not merely a liver disease, it is a surrogate marker of metabolic syndrome with accompanying dead appendages like coronary artery disease. So, most important thing is not treatment of the disease, but prevention. Thank you.